Hello and welcome back to our series on making animation demo reels, where we take the best advice we've had from industry experts and show you how you can make the best possible demo reel to get you hired. In this video, it's time to talk about putting together your reel and how you can make it memorable. Stick around to the end where we tackle that age-old question about demo reels: music or no music? But first, how do you know if a shot is worthy enough to go on your demo reel? During one of our Q&A sessions with Agora Studio CEO David Hubert and animation director Brent George, they tackled this very topic.
I agree that you are not the best judge of your own work, but you should have a sense if it's good enough. If you're looking too much at something, you don't see it anymore. This is why, leave the shot there, and when you come back in the morning, just flip it horizontally. So you're going to see a brand new perspective. I would say just don't look at your show reel for maybe 1 or 2 days. Just look at dozens, if not hundreds of other show reel out there, and then look at yours, and maybe you'll be like, oh, it's actually pretty good, or yeah. It's not bad, but those 3 pieces should not be there. I would probably advise to have external opinion as well. Maybe not just your surrounding friends, but professionals that you could rely that, okay, I expect that they will give me honest feedback on my work.
We have a Discord channel with a channel where you can put that work out there and have people just react to it right away. I think your peers are a very, very good way of getting a good litmus test on. If you got a lot of people being like with some pretty big feedback, then maybe it's not ready. If you have people that are on the majority are like, man, this is good, and there's a bunch of people nitpicking it a little bit, then it's probably a good sign that it's at least good enough to put on the demo reel. You can also, I hate to be so on the nose with this, but you can also go ahead and book a review with one of our experts and have them help you figure that out. I mean, that's what they're there for, right? It's not just to review a shot. It could be also your demo reel. That's what you want.
It's always important to cater your demo reel to the studio or project you want to work for. Samantha Youssef, former Disney animator and founder of Studio Technique, a studio dedicated to teaching artists life drawing skills, had this to say.
Research studios. I mentor a lot of students that end up feeling like it's because we're encouraged to. I get that the message is out there, but don't just make it about like, if my artwork is so fabulous in my way, any studio would just want to hire me. A studio is still looking for, yes, a unique voice, and yes, a great portfolio, but also that you can work on their films and maintain their brand. So I would just say that like, look at where you're applying and make sure that your artwork, your animation, like it suits the studio, but still keeping your voice, but keeping that in mind. It's still a job. So
it suits the studio, but it also suits you. Like, make sure it's a good fit both ways.
Yes, yeah, both ways, totally both ways. I just see a lot of students that it's more about they think that if they're the best, then they get in. But there's a little bit of that too. So don't take it like it's not. It's also like you could have an amazing demo reel and it could be flawless, but it might not be what that studio is looking for. So it's not a personal thing. It's just that you have to know that they are looking for a certain thing too.
Arcane is an amazing series that took the animation industry by storm. We were fortunate to host the show's animation director Alexi Wanaroy in one of our live streams. During the session, he was asked for advice on what he'd be looking for on a reel. Alexi gives some great advice not only for what shots they'd be looking for at Studio Fortiche, but also how many shots make up a decent reel.
In terms of for an animator's reel, for a reel like Fortiche, a studio like Fortiche, we want to see things that feels has weight, that feels naturalistic, and that has intentions. So anything where your character is going to go from a pose to something like this is something that we don't necessarily want to see. We rather see things like, again, like dragons or like Arcane type of sensibilities in the acting and in the movement and in the weight. It's something like this. It could be as well a bit of the effect. I think is something that we'll also like, but it's a bit of a mix of both. You have to have a certain sensibility for weight, for mechanics, this kind of things. In terms of so an animator's reel is simple, is mechanic shots. So let's say 2-3 mechanic shots. For mechanic shots, it could be a parkour or an action shot or something that feels kind of lively and intense, and something that has maybe a bit of characterization with a walk or something like this with a little bit of a story. And then you want to have some acting shots, like maybe let's say 3 acting shots. If you have a reel around 50, 60 seconds, if all those shots are perfect and they're all finished and polished, I think you have a perfect reel. It doesn't need to be 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes.
If you already work in the industry, you may have had the unfortunate experience of working for months on a shot only to have it cut from the final footage. In a Q&A, David and Brent were asked, is it okay to still add a deleted shot to your demo reel?
Yeah, many people have their public show reel and private show reel.
Absolutely.
It's used, and I've even seen people in the interview that will bring their iPad to. Oh yeah, they don't even want to put it on Vimeo with password protected.
No, yeah,
but yeah, and that's often the reason why some showreel are public with no password and other needs a password. This is where usually you kind of show the stuff that production is already released. There's no big harm, but you don't have 100% have the approval to show it either. So it's going to be there. So yes, you can do it. Those that are doing it are usually making sure that it's password protected and they're going to share it very specific people, and probably with the disclaimer of, by the way, the production is released, but there's shots in there that done, so please keep this show reel for you.
You got to use your best judgment here, because here's one of the things you got to think about, and it's a perspective that I think really helps. Consider this: you're interviewing at another place, another studio, and you're showing your former studio's non-public stuff, possibly, right? And so what impression do you want to leave on this new employer who now might see you as a bit of a liability? Because I'm telling you, that's not the message you want to send. So you need to be very professional and you need to have that conversation. I'm not saying that they're trying to bait you and ask you if they can see some of your stuff just to see if you're going to show them. I don't think anyone's that malicious. But I mean, this whole thing operates on a level of trust, and you need to just be respectful and use your best judgment on this. And the reason why it's sticky is because, some people go by the policy of it's better to do and ask for forgiveness later, because some of these companies you work for are going to be draconian with some of their legal procedures and some of their paranoia. And if you ask, you're definitely not going to get the yes. And now you've just screwed yourself, because now if you were then to go and defy that and then go do it, now you're just asking for heap trouble. So this is very difficult, and there is no right or wrong answer on this. And I certainly wouldn't want to give anybody any kind of straight advice. It's going to come down to your own comfort level and who you're meeting with, and being very transparent and respectful to all of these things. So good luck out there.
And think about it. Is it really worth it? Even if you consider that, okay,
absolutely.
Well, I kind of think that, okay, well, does it mean that your show reel without this shot is going to make a difference? Because if it's just one other cool on top of your other 20 cool shots,
is it worth the risk?
Yes, exactly. Just don't.
Totally agree. I totally agree. If you've been stuck on a project for 4 years, and some of my, a lot of colleagues that you and I work with on a regular basis, especially ones that work in games, there's a tendency to where when they work at big companies, they could work on a game for many years and it just gets canceled. And then now what? 4 to 5 years? And it's like they got nothing. So now you're going to show a bunch of stuff that's like a 5-year-old demo reel. Can you imagine? That's awkward. And so these are special circumstances that I think kind of require some special sort of allowances. But again, tread lightly and just, make sure that you are, doing it on the up and up. And like you said, like David said, I think a really great way is bring it on an iPad. That way it's never been on the internet. Who's to say, it's like you leave with that only copy and no one can actually leak it or anything like that, which is usually the biggest concern that a company has, is that you're not able to protect their property.
Before we move on to the most important question of all, do you add music to your reel or not? We want to let you know that if you would like some feedback on your demo reel, there's no better place than to get feedback from your peers. So why don't you join our Discord server of over 13,000 like-minded artists, all ready and willing to help each other learn and grow. Or you can choose from one of our experts on the Agora Community website to take a look over your reel and give you some professional advice. Whether or not to put music on a demo reel is something that is asked a lot. We've had guests on our Conversation With series that seem to have differing opinions. Ilse Zamaripa is an animator at Steamroller Studios and had this to say when it came to music and demo reels.
Keep the music to the minimum. If you can have no music at all, or just a very slow tone, jazz, simple, maybe actiony, but very quiet, so people are not like disturbed by it.
But Lance Lafort is an industry recruiter at Lafort Talent Agency and is in the room with a lot of directors and supervisors when they're watching demo reels. And he has this to say.
If music is not relevant to what you're doing, don't put any music on, right? I can't tell you how many times I've seen a supervisor or an animation director or somebody just go on the volume, go, what the hell? Why were they thinking Tchaikovsky? What the, but they're actually pissed off now, right? Or like some thrash metal because somehow this is going to be good for this scene, right? And so, and I find people obsessed sometimes. Oh, I got to pick the right track for this. The right audio is going to be amazing, right? No. If it's
and meanwhile, no one's even listening with the volume on. They're just watching it. Yeah.
Right. So it's funny. Now, however, if you're trying to be a director and a composer, of course, then that's your demo reel, right? If there's some scene where this light music is lifting up the butterfly and that's critical to telling the story and you're a director, well, of course, the audio is very important, right? But if this is a modeling reel, a rigging reel, just turn the damn music off, right? No one's looking at that.
We also sent out a poll with 14.3% of people saying no to music, 39.3% said yes to music, and 46.4% said it depends. So really, the choice is yours. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more tips and tricks to take your work as an artist in the animation industry to the next level. And while you're at it, give this video a like, it will really help the channel out. Until next time, as always, stay tuned and stay animated.